Hey y'all, we are back, and of course, we have another grant. This grant, first and foremost, this grant is literally going to show you why it is so important to read the terms and conditions before you start applying for grants. Of course, if you get anything of value from this video, beginning, middle, end, like, share, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. First and foremost, I always start off with the Discord, but remember, the Discord is connected to the Patreon. You have to sign up for the Patreon first, and then that'll connect you to the Discord. And in there, I just share grants. I share grants that I don't do walkthroughs for. So essentially, individuals that want to just go in there and find grants and start applying. This grant that we're going to talk about was posted on the Patreon a while ago. So individuals have had a little bit more time to apply for this grant. And then also, I do international grants in there, for-profit, nonprofit, state-specific. It's a plethora of grants that I post in there. The special did end for my 10,000 subscribers, but it's still only $20 a month, which I always say, essentially with this, you can sign up, get in there. Let's say you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. It's not one of those where you caught in a loop and you got to keep paying and then you can't get yourself out of it. And then it's a write-off for your business. It's a business expense. And then it's like a lottery ticket, right? If you get a grant, even if it's $1,000 grant, you've made more than that $20, or some of the people that's getting like $25,000, $100,000 grant, it's worth it. I will say, because I did have a previous video where I talked about grants, there's power in numbers. It is difficult to get grants. So do not get discouraged. You might have to do 10, 15, 20 applications before you land your first one. However, it'll be worth it for your business, seriously. So let me just share my screen quickly so we can then get into the grant. So here is the Discord. It comes, like I said, from the Patreon, and then it's different categories. So if you're new here, this is why I like this one, because instead of placing it in the Patreon where you have to scroll and try to find what you're looking for, you can immediately go in here and see exactly what you're looking for. The general, I just post a lot of just random things like LA, if Section 8 waiting list is opening and it hasn't been open in a while. It could be other things about business summits that are coming up that might be free. It might be books, just anything that I feel like is going to get us to generational wealth, and or just transferring knowledge that individuals might not know that is happening in the world, because I love reading. So I read, I would say I read the paper, but it's online, because I do that. But I definitely think that, just sharing that information here, and then like here, for profit, everything is just, it's categorized, right? So if you come in here looking for a for-profit, or if you're looking for nonprofit grants, I post all of that here. We have state specific. So depending on what state you're in, I just saw Wisconsin. This is Atlanta. Of course, that's a city. We got Michigan. We have St. Louis. So it's just everything in there. And then as soon as the YouTube drop, I put it here. So if individuals, for whatever reason, notification isn't working, you'll know that, oh, there's a video. Let me go ahead and watch that if it's a grant that is eligible for your company or not a company. Because this grant, you can be a solepreneur, however you want to use that terminology. So you don't necessarily need to have an LLC for this one. And then international grants, because I do get individuals asking me if there's grants specifically in Africa, and I do have a couple of those in here as well as Canada, any place that is outside of the US. I don't have all of them in here yet, but as they come, I put them in here. And then just documents that might be helpful for you when you're applying for grants. This grant isn't going to require any of these documents, but sometimes you do need a business plan or a pitch deck, or if you're interested in drop shipping. And then accelerators, this is going to be more so for non-financial backing, but I've always said having that mentorship means way more sometimes than getting the money. And that's it. So I'll put the link in the chat, the live chat, because I get questions when I say something is in the live chat. That is not the description box, but the Patreon will be in the description box as well as the live chat. So if I say live chat, you would have to, watch the video, and then you will see the chat as it comes up, whatever I type in, or if people are typing in and I'm responding to questions. And then I always say I offer consultations. I have a website. You can go to the website. There is somebody that created a fraudulent email address. Money Time with Ebony Dion ESQ@gmail.com, which is not me. So do not send people your money or any of that. Let me quickly put this in here so we can go through the grant. All right. Hey, Felicia. I know so a lot of y'all know this is a journey for me, this YouTube and tech and all of that. So I've started looking at my analytics, which tells me the best time to go live. So therefore, based on the analytics, it told me I should go live at 1 Central Standard Time today. So here I am just trying it out to see if, I pay more attention to the analytics versus I just be going live, y'all. So now I'm going to try to pay more attention to when folks are actually online. I'm trying to keep this hair out the way. As you can see, it's just getting all over the place. Now, this grant, first and foremost, let's do the requirements. 18 years or older, US only. So this one is not a global opportunity. You have to be inside of the United States. The deadline here, now listen to this, okay? It's 11:59.59, but it's Pacific Standard Time, not Eastern Time, not Central Time. So please pay attention to that. That turns out to be, what is that? 8:59 Eastern, 9:59. I'm probably saying this backwards. 9:59 Central. Yeah, 9:59 Central, and then 8:59 Eastern. If that's wrong, I apologize, but it is 11:59 Pacific. Okay, so make sure y'all get all that. Also, with this grant, you will have to do it in one sitting because a lot of grants will typically allow you to save it and come back. You're not going to be able to do that. So please make time. It should just take you 10 minutes, maybe 15. But as I said, it's standard questions that they're starting to ask. So you should have your elevator pitch and you're able to kind of copy and paste and just go along with the grant. Here's the criteria that you're going to be judged on. Oh, and like I said at the beginning, you do not have to be an LLC. You can be a solopreneur, whatever terminology you want to use, you can be that. There's 5 different things that you're being judged on. The only thing I could not find is a percentage. So they did not tell me how they're going to weigh them. However, I think we can kind of figure out where we should spend a lot of our time. So the first thing is clear and compelling business, mission, or vision. As I've said before, because I've went to my website and let's share the screen quickly again, just so you all can see where mine is located at. And I always say, make sure that whatever you do, that you are concise, right? You want to make sure that you're not giving them run-ons, that you're not trying to throw everything in there because they're going to have so many applicants that you got to catch their attention quickly. So when they ask you about your mission or vision, so I have both on mine. My mission, which is pretty straightforward, to build and grow a business's longevity by creating generational wealth for all. And then my vision is to motivate and inspire individuals and entrepreneurs by identifying and addressing informational and financial burdens. That's it. So literally, you should be able to say what that is in 1 to 2 sentences, preferably 1, because that way it's an elevator pitch. If somebody say, what do you do? I want to create generational wealth for all. There's no group of individuals that I'm targeting. Everyone deserves to have generational wealth. That's it. And then if they want to know more, that's interesting. How do you plan to do that? Then I can go into what I do and how I do it, but I got to be able to get their attention immediately. So that is the first criteria that they're asking. Your business solves a customer problem. So does it solve a problem or does it not? Hopefully, any business should be solving a problem. So when I think about my business, which wasn't a business at first, it was something that I wanted to do. The problem that I saw was misinformation being provided throughout social media or individuals being scammed by individuals charging a substantial amount of money to either give them access to grants or apply for grants, but in actuality, they weren't doing either. They were just taking the money. So the problem was, how do we prevent individuals that have limited resources that are being taken advantage of? I'm a lawyer. A lot of these things I know. I've assisted with grant writing in previous roles. So therefore, let me just, go to YouTube, which I feel is the best space to transfer knowledge and to share information. So that's the problem that I'm solving in my business. And then a clear plan about how funds will assist in the expansion of your business. Now, again, clear, not all over the place. I think I want to do this. I don't know if I want to do that. For me, when I think about my business, literally marketing, a strategist, is going to help me expand my business, and expanding my business would mean that I am expanding my reach within the community. I've recently hired someone, and when I tell you, I am learning a lot. However, I'm imagining if I could have one person that's dedicated to, say, Instagram, which I'm not really active on, and then somebody for Facebook. So really getting my business past capacity, because that's where I'm kind of at, i.e., I have been the only person doing everything. So I'm at capacity, and I really don't have the team to really grow my business the way that it can be grown. So that's something, again, I'm thinking about it from my perspective. We'll go through another example when we get to the application. And then, is it an innovative product or service? Now, I would say my service is innovative in that there are others on YouTube. However, they just tell you the grant. They tell you the grant, they give you the link, and that's it. Mine is, I'm going to walk you through the grant. I'm going to give you sample answers. I'm going to help you think through some of the processes. Of course, if you want to go, take a deeper dive, you will book a consultation. However, as I said, most of these grants that I'm posting, they're asking some of the same questions. So if you're able to, pivot a little bit, change up your wording, you should be able to push out more than, say, one application per week that you might have been doing prior to watching a bunch of these videos, to now doing, 2 to 3 a week, because you're using a lot of those words, i.e. empower, as I said, is always one of those buzzwords. So that's how I would say that mine is innovative, right? You don't have to think of it where it's just, out of this world. It's just something that wasn't being done. I am aware that some channels are now, doing walkthroughs, which is fine. We all have knowledge that can be shared, and maybe their answers will work better for your company than, say, my suggestions. And then demonstration of giving back to the community. Y'all, we talk about this all the time, that you have to give back. And I honestly feel like even if you didn't have a business, you should be giving back to your community. And a lot of us might think that, well, what do I have to give back? It can be anything that you're donating. Right now, for myself, prior to joining the YouTube partner program, I was literally providing this information for free in my Facebook group and also on YouTube. There was never it wasn't this idea of it being a business when I first started it. It was more of just this idea of, I want to do something and I don't know, the best way to do it, right? So that is something. But then now I can do it where maybe eventually, which is my end goal, like I want to be able to offer a grant. However, I'm not in a space financially to keep up with that grant. I want it to be annual. So those types of things are what you need to be thinking about, but always you need to be giving back to your community. I'm going to pause and see if there's questions or comments. Okay, so Felicia, I don't apply for as many grants as I used to, but I did get grants when I was sitting down applying for them continuously. My focus now is just sharing the information. And then from there, if I see a grant that I would be interested in, I would apply. For example, I still have 2 grants on the channel, and that will be in the description. I have a $2,000 grant that anybody can apply for, and then a $15,000 grant that has absolutely no deadlines. And both of those, the deadlines are still open. So those are the ones for myself that I will look at and apply for, because I'm really focused on this business. And because this business is less than a year old, I'm not eligible for a lot of grants that they put out there, because you have to be in business a year or more. And when I first started this journey, it wasn't I wasn't thinking about starting a business. I have, my online store, but with that, I'm not interested in it anymore. It's still out there, people can place orders, but this is more of my passion. And I think because I will call myself a serial entrepreneur. If people were to see some of the rooms in my home of things that I've purchased because I thought this is the business that I was going to do, you would think something was wrong with me. But this one is more of my passion. So right now, I'm not really eligible for a lot of the grants that I even talked to you all about. And then John, I mentioned earlier, a lot of my international grants are inside of the Patreon, and there is a link in the chat. I have no idea if you can scroll up in the chat. I'll place it in there again momentarily. And you are welcome, Tanisha. Okay, so let's talk about the prizes. And I actually had to make a PowerPoint for this one because I do not have a business account. Therefore, when I say a business account because Amazon is hosting this. I have a business bank account, y'all. You should have one too. But with this one, I was like, I'm not going to sign up for all of that, so I'll just get the questions because it wouldn't let me go through the application, which took me a little bit. It's a little bit more work, but I think it's going to be worth it to have the conversation. Anything that you respond to, and I'm going to read this one because they've made this bold, must be suitable for family viewing on a national news network. I have no idea where they're going to communicate all of this or talk about all of this, but national news network. You will be notified by email. So starting October 10th, everyone will be posted on Amazon's website for this grant. But then from October 10th through October 20th, it'll be public voting. But the public voting is just for business accounts. And I will also say, I forgot to say at the beginning, I do have a small business grant playlist on the channel. So you can go there and there's a plethora of grants. And as I've always said, even if the grant deadline has passed, I highly recommend tracking the grants because a lot of these grants are annual. The $2,000 grant is quarterly. So a lot of these grants, even if you miss the deadline, you can start preparing yourself and then just listening to some of the answers so you can, at a minimum, some of these quick grants, do those yourself. And I know individuals who will ask about grant writing services. The grants that I post on my channel, I post them intentionally because I think that they can be completed by business owners without having to pay someone for that service. However, if you feel that that is in the best interest of your business to pay someone to complete that application, then you have to do what's best for your business in order to get that grant. End, period. Okay. And then there's one application per account. So if you have multiple accounts, you can apply multiple times. However, let's say they pick two of your accounts. At that point, whichever was your first first application, that's going to be the one that they select. So regardless if you're going to do two or three, make sure your first one is your best one because that's the one that they're going to carry through to the voting round. But the bonus about this is if you make it to the voting round, you get something. So 15 people make it to the voting round, and then there's 15 different prizes that are then categorized. And the one thing that I like about this, because I'm going to pull up and share my screen, the PowerPoint that I created just for you all so we can walk through the questions, is they have something, and I'm going to find the word because I had not seen this before. It's called tax gross up payment. This assists with federal, state, and local taxes. And I always say, when you get these grants, they're going to 1099 you, and Uncle Sam is coming for his money. However, with this one is, they know that if you get $25,000 and you literally need the $25,000, you don't really get that if you have to pull out money to pay the taxes. What they did say is, they are not liable if whatever dollar amount they give you is not the dollar amount that is needed. So let's say it's 10%. They think it's 10%. and they give you an extra $2,500 that is earmarked for you to then pay your state, local, federal taxes, and it comes out that it's $3,000. You're still going to be responsible for that $500. However, I think this is a huge deal because normally they say, here's your money, make sure you have some type of stack tax strategy to then pay your taxes. So I think that is a good thing. So what I'm going to do is pull up my handy little PowerPoint that I put together, and then share my screen with you all. And then we're going to go through all the questions. Let's see. Hop on those today. Yes, Visionary Vanguard. Like, this is my passion right now. I don't want to do nothing else. I feel like it's just too many scams. It's so disheartening to watch when it happens. I've won 3 grants. Okay, Tanisha, 3 grants. Exactly, the simple ones. And that's what I tell folks. They do not do like the $1,000, because those are the grants I was getting for my real estate company, because I'm a part-time real estate broker. If people don't know, I'm licensed in Missouri and North Carolina. And I was getting a plethora of $1,000 here, $2,000 there. And that stuff adds up when you're paying your dues. And it's going to be much harder to get these larger grants. However, if your business is properly positioned for these larger grants, go for it and get them. But that low-hanging fruit at the state level, you're going to have less competition. There's not going to be, if I'm in Missouri and you're in North Carolina, I'm not applying for a grant in North Carolina. But the grants that I post on YouTube is because obviously, the channel is global. But definitely your local chambers of commerce, SBA, all types of state entities that have business grants, you really need to start looking into that as well, in addition to these, because most of the grants I got were local grants. And federal grants, okay, have I ever been? So this is what I'll say. I personally have not been federally funded. However, companies that I've worked for, where I've was on the grant writing team, yes, we have received federal funds. And I think what people don't understand is they're looking for data. So you can't say, I want money. They want to know the community that you're serving, the percentage and increases of whatever it is that your programs are doing. They want to see the validation of your programmatic things that you're doing as well. So with federal grants, I think it's just more so most businesses lack the proper data that you need in order to apply for the grant, because anybody, you can storytell, you can tell a beautiful story. But what does the data say? Does the data say this program is successful, or does the data say, no, it's not successful? How many individuals are you serving? What is your target community? Is that community within whatever boundaries they're looking for? So yes, federal is difficult, but it's literally, if you get the data down, it's a win-win every time, because that's how they make money, because they're going to pay you per community serve, per person serve, family serve, whatever it is that you're supposed to be serving is going to be per that. All right, I'm supposed to be pulling up the PowerPoint. Let me make sure that I have everything. I do. Okay, back to the PowerPoint. No, share the screen first, y'all. I'm all over the place, but bear with me. All right. Okay. So as I said, I made us a PowerPoint this time because in order for me to get into the application, I needed to have an Amazon Prime, no, just an Amazon business account. And I do not have an Amazon business account, and I wasn't going to create one in order to do this. So here's everything that you need to look for. So when you go to, you know what, y'all? Let me show you how to get here. That's probably what you want to see first, so you can figure out how to get to the grants. Because you literally, if you just Google Amazon, and I need this to go to, come out of here, y'all. There we go. So if you Google Amazon Small Business Grant. It's going to take you right there. However, you will not be able to get to the application until you create a free Amazon business account, which I did not create an Amazon business account. But once you click here, as you see, it's due September 30th, which is why I just did the PowerPoint, because I'm like, that'll be easier. So then we can still go through the questions. However, I don't have an account. Now, here's the prizes. So you get one grand prize winner. Like I said, it's 15 total. So 10 for one, that's 15. So by October 10th, if you make it to the semifinalist round, you're going to get one of these prizes if everything that you've submitted is being verified. One thing, let me explain. Once you make it to these second phases, they're going to do a deeper dive into your business. Okay, so they're going to probably want financial statements. They might do background checks. They're going to do a lot more than this surface level application. And even when you look at this is all they show on their website when you first go. So $25,000 for the first place. 4 finalists will get $20,000. Then we got $15,000 for 10 semifinalists. Everyone gets some level of a 1-year Prime membership. And then you get a Ring security kit. That's their sponsor. I will say in the terms, it said, at the discretion. So the sponsor could pull out at any time and say, we don't want to give out these Ring doorbells. So then it won't happen. And then you get Amazon Web Services credits and training. That's $32,000 for first, $3,000 for your finalists, and then $1,700 for the semifinalists, which again, all of this I think is worth it because you never know what you're going to need for your business. And I feel like training to me is more valuable than dollars at times. All right. So the first 3 questions they ask you about your annual revenue in 2021 has to be less than $1 million. So if it's $1 million over, you don't qualify. The size of the business, it went up to 100. And then, like I said, solopreneurs are eligible. And then it has to be US based. So unfortunately, this is not a global opportunity. The next question, and again, I took all of this from the application, y'all. So when you go to the application, you'll see the exact same questions. Why did you start your business? Again, for myself, if I said because of the misinformation, I'm pretty sure they are looking for an impactful reason why you started your business versus, I like shopping, so I started a boutique. I don't think that's what they're going to be looking for, right? Let's say you started a boutique that was targeting taller women. I recognize whenever I went to the store, I was never able to find anything. For myself, I'm 5'3", and it's very difficult to find stuff for myself. Either if you get the short, whatever it's called, it's too short. Then the longer ones, I'm always paying to get something hemmed. I might, I got this cute little outfit. I thought it was a super deal, $20, amazing. I go to get it hemmed and it's $30. So at that point do you just let it drag or do I pay to get it hemmed? It could be, I've talked about, food insecurity a lot because I grew up in one of those communities. If you think about, you started a community garden because you wanted to live a healthier lifestyle. So it has to be something that is impactful where if I read that first sentence, I'm going to want to keep reading it. And then also if it can tie back to your community, that would be amazing as well. What is your business's mission or vision? We've already discussed that. Mine is on my website if you want to go and visit that as well, just to get an idea. Or I always tell people, Google is your best friend. Google sample business mission, vision, just so you can get an idea and see if any of that resonates with you in your business as well. And then how does your business innovate or add value for your customers? So again, if we quickly go through the examples, like I said, with my business, we're doing walkthroughs. I'm not just throwing you a link unless you're in the Patreon. I'm not just throwing you a link and then hoping that you can figure out how to get through the application. We go through everything, essentially hand holding through that process, which some people need, and not everybody's in a position to book a consultation with me. I'm a licensed attorney. My consultation fees are gonna reflect my years of experience as well as my credentials. And today might not be the space that somebody is able to afford that, but maybe 6 months to a year from now, they will be able to, but I'm going to still provide the same level of service that I would provide if somebody was paying for that service. So that is the value to the customers. Essentially, you're getting access to an attorney and you're not paying those fees. If you're doing the one where either somebody is taller or shorter, the value added to me, for me, I'm going to save money because I no longer have to pay to get my clothes altered. That's tall or short, right? Or for taller women or men who aren't able to get some of the most fashionable items because it costs more, because they're saying they're using more fabric. So they're charging you more than what they say they would charge me when you're getting me fabric I don't even need. You could put that on a pants and do it that way. Or what if you had a store like that? If I like extra fabric, if you had enough short people, then the tall people could have it for free. I don't know. But then also with the food insecurity, the value added is that individuals who know how to grow their own food, and they would have access to healthier options, which then will increase their health. So you have all of those things that come into play as well, is the added value for your customers. And then how will receiving the grant help you? This probably is going to be the most important, because one of the things they're looking for is, number one, if it's innovative, but two, not just they're giving you the money. For myself, like I said, it'll help me scale my business, but that's a conclusory statement. How will it help me scale my business? So whenever you're answering these types of questions, make it where the person isn't going to have follow-up questions. This will help me scale my business by hiring a marketing strategist who will then assist me with, right? So it could be social media branding or just branding in general. With the individual that I've hired, I now have brand colors and brand fonts and my updated website, and I have a social media kit, marketing kit. I forget what it's called, but I have something that's a kit that has all of my stuff in it. So it's like all of these things that I'm just learning as I go, but being able to have that designated expert in-house, that's going to catapult my business. Again, if it's someone else, if you're doing food insecurity programming, the funds could help you reach more families. It could help you buy the products, the seeds, or whatever it is that you're going to need in order to give back to your community. And just think about it from the perspective of not just hiring, but the impact as well, if that is the route that you're going to take, right? With me providing a service, it's a little bit different than if I had a community garden. I can really say that I'm going to purchase these tangible things that will then help the community. What is a large problem your company faced and how did you persevere? Now, I know in my previous video, I think I understand that, COVID, there's another variant that's supposedly out there, but I think that we have to think outside of COVID only because they're going to get those answers. And I will say with this grant, they did not specify word count anywhere. It's not a word count in the terms, it's not a word count on the application. But what I would say is just make sure that you're concise in whatever that you're doing. Now, for myself, what I faced originally with my business, number one, I didn't know what I was doing because, I was just hopping on YouTube. But then also now figuring out how am I properly funneling clients? And then also how am I ensuring that my target audience has access to my videos, access to the information? And some of my blind spots was that I wasn't properly marketing what I had. I wasn't getting on YouTube at the right time because I wasn't fully understanding all of my analytics. I wasn't fully understanding how impactful a thumbnail might be for a video. So for me, it was just that huge learning curve. And what I did to persevere is I did a lot of research. I'm a trained researcher just by trade. So I was able to research and get a better understanding, but I always wanted to have foundational knowledge before I handed over my money to pay somebody. So I would be able to know that, okay, this person knows what she's talking about, or I looked that up and I read about that a lot. This isn't right. So therefore, I would be more informed when hiring somebody to help me get my business to where I'm going. If we're talking about the food insecurity. It could be dealing with COVID, right? That there was limited access and crops are seasonal. Now I'm not a gardener, y'all, so bear with me. But crops are seasonal, and I missed a lot of seasons for me to be able to help individuals in the community because I didn't have access to the proper seeds or soil or whatever you would need because there was a shortage. Even though it's 2 years, if that's what, only one full season or two full seasons, depending on when things started to become available. And then what did you do? Did you pivot and say, you know what, we don't have access to this, but we do have access to this. So at a minimum, let's learn how to grow this or learn how to do X, Y, and Z. It could be the same thing if you're dealing with a boutique. No import export or whatever, everything was shut down, so it put your business 2 years behind, so you weren't able to properly launch, and now you're still in the infancy phase when you projected yourself to be in a separate phase in your business. So just think about those types of things. And then how does your business give back to the community? This is pretty self-explanatory, but again, they want to look at impact and making sure that whatever you're giving back to the community solves a problem. And if you notice, that wasn't any of the questions. What problem was it solving when you're giving back? But that is one of the things that you're being judged on. So I would mention how your business gives back to the community, but in that being concise, we give back, which then allows X, Y, and Z. So whatever that is, it could be food drive, it could be you give a percentage of sales, it could be, a lot of companies do, buy one thing and we give one thing free, whether it's buy one pair of socks, buy a pair of shoes. As I've mentioned in previous videos, different homeless shelters for women, and it's the little bags with feminine products. So whatever it is, and it doesn't always have to be a tangible, it could be your time. Right? It could be if you're a marketing strategist and you giving back to small businesses who don't have access to that, or if I was providing pro bono services. So it could definitely be a service that you are giving back to the community. So don't always think that it has to be a tangible or a dollar amount. This question is key. It says, if selected as a winner, are you okay with Amazon contacting you to help you onboard and redeem the prizes? And then it goes on to say, if you say no, then you're not eligible. I don't know who would say no to this, because somebody has to contact you to tell you that you won. And then they also have to tell you what you need to do in order to receive the funds. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Now, this question is going to knock a lot of people out. That's why we got that man, because he just all hell. Because this, you have to understand the terms and conditions. So your Amazon business ID, you'll get that immediately, mainly because once you sign up for the account. Now your trademark registration number with USPTO, because you have to be branded. And what I think Amazon is trying to ensure is that they are not infringing on anyone's trademark. Even though the terms say that you're letting them know that you have the right to use X, Y, and Z, they want a registration number and they want the mark name. So your mark name would be whatever you have trademarked. Now, I will say that you have common law trademark, which allows you to use the superscript TM if you have used it in commerce. So for example, my website, that's commerce, people are going there, I have business cards, I have all of that. So I could have common law protection with the superscript TM. Registered means the R with the circle. So essentially, most business owners, especially if you have a website, should be using TM, superscript. Once you go through the USPTO office and you get that certification from them that says that your mark has now been registered, then you can use the R. Let's see. I don't have an Amazon. So Miss Felicia, you can sign up with the account and it takes seconds. You literally, you can have it in less than 5 minutes. If you go to their website and sign up. So I love learning and teaching on business. Do you have to be a business for at least you have this grant? So Felicia, with this grant, it did not say how long you have to be in business. It did not say a year or more, 2 years or more. It didn't say any of that. I think the knockout space for folks is USPTO registration. And again, there's no mention of this unless you truly understand when they say, oh, we want to brand it, you have to be branded. But people will think, well, it's kind of like, this isn't my shirt. I purchased it, I had it made. But let's say this was my t-shirt company and the tag says Money Time as opposed to whatever this tag says. In your mind, that's branded because you're branded on it. Or if I had a purse business, or if I had a jewelry business, whatever it is, and I'm sending it out, is branded. My website is branded. However, they want it to be official, not just from a common law, or because you can get a state trademark. I don't know if the fees went up. I know in Missouri it's $50, $55 to get your state trademark. So you can have state level trademark, but they're looking for federal level trademark. And as I tell folks, that's why it is imperative that you read every single thing, because you would have spent all your time going through this. And of course, there's people that have their trademark, but this is the last question. It's not the first question. It's not the second question. It is the last question after you've put in all of your information, and then you don't have your registration number. And then Felicia, yes. So are you asking about your name or your domain for your website? So if we go to that's the end of the application. That was the last question. But if we go to my website here, if you see this TM here, which is next to my business name, if that's what you're asking. So can you clarify your confusion as far as the trademark, Felicia, please? And then while I'm waiting for that, I will say, I'm going to show you all. So Better Legal, I have partnered with them, and they allow you to incorporate your business, and they do all of this because you get $100 off with my link. And it's only, what is it? It's $199. Otherwise, it'd be $299. And I personally, because I charge over $500 to do those types of services, and I know some people will say you can do it yourself, and I'm a firm believer that yes, you can, because a lot of the stuff that I'm paying this young lady to do, I probably could do it myself. However, I want it done right. And I don't want to spend 5 hours trying to figure out how to do something when in actuality, there's somebody that's an expert and can do it in seconds. That's just my 2 cents on what you need to do. But I always tell people, do what is best for your business, and you're the only person that's going to know that. So don't let anyone make you feel like you need to pay for something that otherwise is, free for you. So with Better Legal, just to go to their services, their snapshot, here is everything that they provide. As you see, it says $299, but you get $100 off, and the link will be in the description box. But here's all of the things. So if you're doing an LLC, corporation, you get bylaws versus the operating agreement, but they'll file it, your EIN, operating agreement, banking resolution, website. The asterisk, probably like you'll get a free website, but there's probably some type of hosting fee. That part, there's no clarification. Business checking, they'll do a tax analysis, insurance evaluation to see what type of insurance would be best for your business. And then these are other things like if you have employees. However, and then it's a few days as far as their turnaround. Same thing over here. Like I said, the only difference is going to have bylaws for a corporation versus an operating agreement. But I firmly believe that as business owners, $199, and then it'll be a write-off. I'm going to just put the link to that in the chat, so then you all will be able to see it. But like I said, it'll definitely be in the description box as well. And then I'm going to come back to your question, Miss Felicia, as soon as I post this. Okay, so no, that's the thing. You have to have a federal trademark registration. So that's one of the questions. I doubt that you're going to be able to move to the next one. As I tell folks, they could say no. I mean, you could put NA in there and see what happens, but that is one of the questions. I will say that I've read the terms forwards and backwards, and it doesn't specifically state that you must have that registration number, but they do say that one of the requirements is it's a branded company. So I think what Amazon is defining branded company is one that is federally branded through the USPTO. That's how I'm gathering all of this once I saw that question, because it was kind of confusing for me as well, because I'm thinking, nowhere on that cover page and their chart that tells you about the winners and who's eligible. There's even an FAQ section. Let's see if I still have that pulled up. None of that is in there in order for individuals to know that that is one of the requirements, again, which is why I always say it's imperative to read everything, because again, you would have probably spent a lot of time applying for this, but I'm going back to their homepage, but I don't think it was there, because once I saw it, I started rereading the terms and conditions again. Yeah, it doesn't say that at all. So we can share the screen quickly just so you all can get a better understanding of what I'm seeing and to help you understand why. So here where it says who's eligible, existing business customer, like I said, less than 5 minutes to apply, revenue less than $1 million, one entry per business account, completed application in full and have reviewed the terms and conditions. Business must be self-owned by a U.S. resident with headquarter location in U.S. But then if we click on the terms and condition, one of the things it says that you acknowledge that you've read it. Right here, a brand owner of a small size business. So that's the only thing I could find. So a brand owner on the USPTO website, somebody would own the mark. And typically the mark is owned if you have a business. So all these things, typically the mark is owned by the business. So if I were to trademark and I have my LLC, it will go under that LLC versus I wouldn't put it under me, the individual, but that's just me. You could if you wanted to, but you have to do what's best for your business. So yes, you would have to have your registration number if I'm reading what that one sentence says correctly. However, maybe you can put NA and you can move past it, but if it's going to take you a substantial amount of time to apply, maybe not. I don't know with that one. You do the same, Tanisha. So if you got anything of value, beginning, middle, end, like, share, comment. My birthday is in a couple of days, so I am not going to be on this here internet. I will be on a tropical island somewhere, which is why I wanted to get this video out. But I do appreciate you all taking time to watch this live, sit here with me. And as always, I will have another grant coming up, and that grant will probably a couple weeks because I'll be traveling for a week. And then I have to come back and get reacclimated to having to work and not being in somebody's pool having adult beverages every day. But you all enjoy the rest of your day, and I thank you.